Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is Valor Fight 29, New Blood Rising, and we will crown a new flyweight champion of sorts. An interim title has been made. Obviously, our champion, Will Boldick, unable to compete tonight due to a concussion. Therefore, up next, the interim flyweight title on the line. Gerald Colbert out of Alabama taking on Devonte Su from Douglasville, Georgia. Jennifer Ox and I will bring your two main eventers to the Valor cage.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, who is ready for your main event? This is for the interim Valor Flyweight Championship. First, fighting out of the red corner, please welcome to the cage, Gerald Colbert.
Gerald Colbert representing Champions Freestyle MMA in Birmingham, Alabama. 11 wins, 9 losses. Definitely one of the most experienced flyweights in the entire region. He's the guy who stepped up on short notice at about 2.5, 3-week notice right after his last fight, which was about 3 weeks ago, to take this fight, looking to extend a winning streak here for the interim title.
Well, we know Champions Freestyle MMA extremely well. They've been part of the Valor roster for many years. Of course, we saw Fred Weaver a few weeks ago competing right here in the Valor cage, and he performed extremely well. This is another one of those prospects in Gerald Colbert.
We've seen plenty of guys come from the gym through the pro ranks. First time we're really getting a look at these amateurs. This is a big one. Gerald Colbert, a smaller flyweight, only about 5'5", but explosive is what you usually see from the guys with a smaller frame. Packs on a lot of muscles, able to be a little bit bigger and closer to the ground, which usually makes him a very talented wrestler and definitely develops some power.
And it's definitely difficult to get underneath someone like that. So it definitely makes you have to adjust how you wrestle, how you perform your ground game, and then how you perform your range, because a lot of guys think that it's easy to punch a guy that's shorter, but not necessarily. Not a guy that's that short and has that sort of movement.
And we will see what he brings to the table. Again, little bit of a short notice fight. Not too bad, not definitely like the last fight on one day. He's had a few weeks to prepare. And again, he was the one who hit the 125 mark. His opponent had a little bit trouble making the weight. They come to an agreement where the title is still on the line tonight. Gerald Colbert out of Alabama. Alabama versus Georgia in our Tennessee main event. Wouldn't have it any other way. Cody Gwynn here with Casey Oxendine as we're ready for your Valor 29 main event for the interim flyweight title.
You know, that's what I was talking about. We were in Chattanooga. I was talking to Vince last week, and I was like, you know, it's so crazy how we travel all over to these different regions, and we get to see this different talent everywhere we go. And it's not just Tennessee. We're based here in Tennessee, but, you know, you're seeing a guy, you know, two competitors in our main event, like you mentioned, from Georgia and from Alabama. It's very impressive.
The Alabama one's in the cage. We'll welcome the Georgia fighter to the Valor cage at this time with Jennifer Oxendine.
And his opponent fighting out of the OEB blue corner. Please welcome to the cage, Devonte Su.
Devonte Su was prepared to fight Will Boldick. Plans changed. He was all for it. He wanted a shot at that title. And tonight, the 5-1 fighter from Knuckle Up, who's had a really good night so far, he comes to the cage looking to win his 6th fight. Devonte Su, former high school wrestler, been training since only 2014. So interesting to see a guy title fight. But again, we mentioned flyweight. It doesn't take a lot to start really climbing the ranks.
Sure, and of course, when you say only been training since 2014, that wrestling counts in there.
Oh, yeah,
you have to count that. That background means so much. It is truly the best base for a mixed martial arts competitor, and once you add the training there at Knuckle Up Fitness, you've got a very complete fighter on your hands.
There you see the tail of the tape. Again, you'll see the height advantage, 5'2" versus 5'7". And again, Devonte Su, a little bit of trouble making weight, came in at 127. The two came to an agreement. 25 versus 20, and you see the records 11-9. You don't find a lot of guys at 125 with that many fights. I'm sure some of the losses came at a bigger weight class, and for a guy that's only 5'2", that is where it's really going to play to make sure you're at the weight you need to be. We've seen many guys like that before. Colbert probably a monster at 125 when he can fight at 125.
You know, I hate to use the term freak show, but when someone is that short, it can work in their advantage because they're very used to closing distance. They're very used to the range they're already in. But when you're trying to punch at a guy, and you know this as well as I do, you're a tall guy. When you're fighting a guy that's 5'2", you've got to lower your level to 5'2" throughout the duration of that fight. Otherwise, you are at risk of the overhand right and those looping punches.
And a lot of guys try to find training partners to emulate how their fight's coming up. A lot of teams don't have 5'2", 5'3" fighters.
Right.
So you have to wonder, you know, if Devonte Su has been fighting or training with guys who are probably 5'6", 5'7". And that's a big drop-off. You know, a number it don't sound like, but that's a big drop-off if you're fighting someone who's going to be that much of a height disadvantage. You know, we always talk about reach, but as you mentioned, you got to kind of play in the other factor. I mean, that's going to be a big difference, and it might play to the advantage of our competitor tonight, Gerald Colbert. Devonte Su has held flyweight titles in other promotions. He is hoping to go home tonight with the interim flyweight title and likely the guy who will have a chance at our real title very soon. Both competitors in the cage. Jennifer Brox and I will announce tonight's main event.
This bout is scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds. First, out of the Hogs red corner, he holds a record of 11 wins and 9 defeats. He weighed in at 125 pounds and represents Champions Freestyle MMA in Birmingham, Alabama. Put your hands together for Gerald Colbert. And his opponent, out of the OEB blue corner, he holds a record of 5 wins and 1 defeat. He weighed in at 127 pounds and represents Knuckle Up Fitness in Douglasville, Georgia. Give it up for Devonte Su. Your referee for this fight is Josh Ward.
All right, I am keyed up for this one, man. I can't wait for this one to pop off. Of course, we saw a 125 bout, a flyweight bout earlier in the night. It was so action-packed. I'm ready for more of the same.
Both these guys have wrestling backgrounds, wrestling credentials. Be interesting to see who has the better wrestling, who has the better striking, which guy uses their height more, you know, height advantage, height disadvantage. Could be used different ways. And we see both guys come out. Again, flyweight is about speed. So
big left hook there by Gerald Colbert. And this is one thing I was talking about, is Devonte Su, he needs to lower his level when he's striking with Gerald Colbert. He does have the wrestling background, but when you stand above your opponent, you run the risk of that overhand right and left hook. Those looping punches are at the advantage of the shorter competitor.
Devonte Su in the camouflage, Gerald Colbert in the black and red. And it looks like Colbert might be trying for a takedown. Both guys, again, a wrestling background. So unclear who will have a wrestling advantage right now. Sometimes it would be interesting to see who has a strength advantage. You know, sometimes the longer you are, the better you can use your body in a wrestling sense. Sometimes the smaller you are, the better your frame is, the more strength you have in your upper body.
Sure, and you can see Sewell there trying to lace the legs there of Gerald Colbert, looking for an edge here in the takedown. I think if he can get underneath the base of Colbert, he can definitely have some success here. Oh, look at this, a beautiful throw there by Gerald Colbert, and he is able to secure the top position.
And Colbert in half guard here. You mentioned it's a very good striking position in MMA.
Yeah, I prefer to keep it, especially against a wrestler who is good at throwing belly down and getting back to his feet. Great position here by Gerald Colbert.
We'll see what Sewell can do from his back, see if he tries to hit by, maybe try to get his guard back. Tries to get back to his feet here. Looks pretty composed right now to be on the bottom. Again,
and he passes on to side
right
control. And again,
he waited for it.
Exactly. Not a great position here for the smaller man in mount. It's very hard to get all the way around. And now Devonte Su landing some beautiful shots.
Ooh.
But a nice slam there by Gerald Colbert. But Devonte Su is like a cat on his back.
Quick transition there. The strikes from Sewell. Colbert gets the takedown.
Look at this, looking for the choke. This could be the end of the fight.
It's a little to the side, but still he's got it under. Can't really tell if it's under the neck all the way. And his coach is calling for him to get out, and it looks like he might reset here from the back.
Not a good spot here at all for Gerald Colbert, but as short and stocky as he is, may be difficult for Sewell to hold on to.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Now that's a tight choke.
looks like it might be above the chin still, and he is going to get out here. Still, though, holding on to that back. He's not losing his position. He's got a body triangle here, and I'm sure the smaller size, the body triangle, probably very nasty.
Oh, that is one of the most miserable positions in all of fighting and grappling. Oh, those are big shots. This could be the beginning of the end here for Gerald Colbert.
Landed shot after shot, not overexerting himself, though. He's trying to get.
Again, looking for the choke.
And he's going right on the face. That's the key thing. He might not get on the chin, but he's still going right on the bridge of the nose, and that is almost worse than being choked initially. It's just someone grinding on your face, and it looks like Sewell will survive, and we'll go to round 2.
Undoubtedly, you mentioned that. I've heard many a world champion caliber BJJ coach say, choke the face, because you can get the submission there. You've got the pressure on the mouth, on the chin. You've got the suffocation aspect. And if they don't like that, they can raise that neck and allow you to slip that choke underneath the throat. So very good pressure there by Devonte Su. But that being said, Gerald Colbert, he had his moments in the round. I don't think enough, though, to secure the victory in the round.
We'll see that little trick there from Colbert. And he does a very good job getting on top.
I'm going to say this. As long as he was in half guard, he was in great position. He advanced him out. He's a much shorter, stockier position and allowed the much lankier Devonte Su to get underneath him and elevate him. If he stays in the half guard position from top, he's going to be in a better striking spot.
Round number 2 on the title fight. Amateur title fights are still 3-minute rounds. Again, Colbert in the black and red, Su in the camouflage, and here we go. Round number 2. Big kick to start out from Su.
Oh, very aggressive. It's Su. Beautiful left hook there by Gerald Colbert.
And Colbert and Su clinched up yet again. It'll be interesting to see if this fight goes back to the ground and who initiates. Is it, again, this time it looks like Su initiating the pressure against the cage. It's what we seen last time, and he ended up getting thrown.
Yeah, Devonte Su with a big underhook there, jacking up the left arm of Gerald Colbert.
Su working for a takedown.
Beautiful
here.
front face lock here by Gerald Colbert.
A good kick there from Su back in the middle of the cage. Refs gives them a warning about low blows. Here they guys go.
Gerald Colbert, possibly the faster in the striking department of the two.
Looks like he has a very good overhead right, just not able to find the range on it just yet. He spins
Another
out
big
here.
left hook there by Colbert again. Because of the elevated stature of Devonte Su, Colbert is able to tee off.
Colbert now has a single leg here. Be interested to see if he takes this fight back to the ground. In an interesting position here from Su as he kind of goes to the side a little bit of a headlock here. Schoolyard, and he continues to clinch. Good shot to the body there from Colbert, and uppercut to the face. No knees to the head. Here's amateurs. Knees to the body are legal. And again, it takes a little bit of a side position. Su pressuring Colbert into the cage. Good knees to the body. He spins out, and they go to the ground.
Not a good spot from Colbert. I've noticed that, in these first 2 rounds, Colbert is very competitive in the wrestling edge. The difference is once they hit the ground and Colbert is on his back, he is not as good at escaping. We saw Devonte Su in a bad spot. He easily escaped. As long as Colbert ends up in these spots, he is tough, and this could be the end of the fight here.
There's a rear naked choke attempt from Su, but he wasn't able to get it.
If I'm in the corner of Colbert, I'm going to say, hey, keep it standing, because he's had a lot of success landing those short hooks and overhands.
And Su still unable to figure out the range of the size difference, and it seems Colbert's kind of gathering that a little bit faster. Nonetheless, Su in a very good position right here to work the back, work the choke. Very good hook.
Yeah.
And this.
You see that Colbert stretched out here, looking for the rear naked. Again, this could be the end of the fight if he is able to secure this here.
Pushing up on the elbow, and that was able to bail him out of that choke.
And again, I think that's a testament to the actual stature of Gerald Colbert. He's so short and stocky, and probably very difficult to get the choke secured on.
A very good round here for Devonte Su, and that's got to make it's 1-1.
Yeah, and until it went to the ground, I was sort of leaning toward Gerald Colbert because he landed the cleaner strikes on the feet. He was unable to do what he needed to do, though, once it hit the mat.
And round number 3 will likely decide who is the interim flyweight title holder here tonight at Valor Fights 29. Just a reminder, we are right back at it next weekend. Kingsport, Tennessee, Apex Fights 8. We're going to be live, Sullivan North High School. Another great night of fights, and we can't wait. We had 2 title fights tonight. We got 4 next week, and we'll be back in action as we take a look at some of the highlights. Great round for Sewell.
Yeah, undoubtedly, like I said, very competitive on the feet with Gerald Colbert. Once it hit the ground, Devonte Su in complete control, unable to secure the choke, but it doesn't matter. He's up 2 rounds to nothing. Gerald Colbert, he's going to have to do something here if he's going to walk away with the interim Valor flyweight title.
If you're in Colbert's corner, you're telling him to keep it standing here.
I'm going to say try to get the knockout, and if you can hurt him, get to the back, get to a position, but try to avoid the wrestling. It's not working out.
Round number 3 could be the deciding round here at Valor Fight 29 main event.
But you know, it could be that Colbert needs to go for broke, do anything he has to do. Look at this, big shots.
Ooh.
And
as you said, the big shots, but he ends up with.
But what can you do? You know, you've got to go for the win here.
Yep.
You know, if you're Colbert, you got. I mean, hey, it was a great shot at glory here, and he did land a few good shots.
And you got to wonder, you know, if you're unable to do anything on top, and the guy's taking you down to avoid the striking, in your mind, is that still you winning the round, so to speak, just because you're on top?
I don't know. I think that I see Devonte Su looking to advance here, and you know, Gerald Colbert is flat on his back, and I definitely think even if Colbert were able to secure this round, it's not going to do much for him. He's going to have to get a finish here.
Sewell in the camouflage working from the top here. Good job by Colbert, though. He's really getting back to his guard here, working. Unable to really get back to his feet, but he's working, and you got to wonder about if there's not a lot of action, how long before the rest stand him up.
Here we go.
Oh,
he
what
gets
a
an
sweep.
elevator.
That's big. And now he will work.
He's going to have to get a finish, though. He's going to have to hustle, but he can't hustle too hard, because if Devonte Su escapes or elevates, it's curtains for Colbert. He's got a short window right here to do something.
Gerald Colbert in the half guard. See if he tries to strike. He might try to pass over here to side control and mount. Earlier, he went straight from side control into mount, and in that transition, Sewell was able to counter and get back to his feet.
Yeah.
So he's going to be much more careful here on top.
Yeah, if I'm in Colbert's corner, I'm saying keep that half guard and try to land some shots, but it could be that he has to move on and progress and possibly take a shot in the dark for that submission.
And again, we have seen fights in the past be stood up from half guard, but he goes into side control here. And a little bit
Iron cross! Wow. Iron cross!
This is big, and Sewell's able to get his arm back here. And I believe Sewell has worked back into half guard and going for the knee on belly pass here, maybe to get to side control and go back to pinning that arm down. Good round so far for Colbert.
And who knows how much damage Colbert has done in this fight already. It could be that Sewell was rocked earlier in the fight and was still foggy throughout all of that. Now, Colbert definitely taking over, but this is not a 5-round fight. This is a 3-round fight. And so far, Devonte Su has done enough to secure the victory in my estimation.
And we have 20 seconds left to see if Colbert can stay in this top position. And now he starts landing some punches. And he is going to the body and head. 10 seconds left in our main event here tonight, as Gerald Colbert lands punches, and the horn will sound right about now. And that is the end of your 3rd and final round. Man!
Great finish for Gerald Colbert. But in my estimation, it's going to be 29-28. Devonte Su, he's going to walk away with the interim Valor flyweight championship tonight.
A great fight, a great close fight. Guys, very closely matched. We've seen the wrestling in round 1 kind of go both ways. You've seen Sewell do a couple things. You've seen Colbert take the back once or twice. Now you mix it up. The second round is almost the exact opposite of that round. If we take a look at some of the replays here, and when Colbert got on top, he was landing some blows. He was just really not able to get the big blow to land a big shot.
Absolutely, and you know, it was a great showing for the crowd. You know, regardless who takes this title, it's really the fans who walk away as the victor tonight because they really got to see a lot of action-packed fight, and it was really topped off with this main event. You know, whoever takes it, and like I said, we've been wrong before. You know, it could go either way, but I believe Devonte Su has done enough, but I would like to see Gerald Colbert back in here again very soon because I was really delighted at his style and the way he pushed forward. His striking was very exciting.
Jennifer Oxenine will crown our new interim flyweight champion here at Valor Fights 29. Who's going home with the gold? Gerald Colbert, Devonte Su. Jennifer Oxenine knows that answer, and she will tell us now here at Valor Fights 29.
After 3 rounds, we go to your judges for the decision. All 3 of your judges score this fight 29-28 for your flyweight interim champion out of the OEB blue corner, Devonte